Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Tech Talk session with me, Tripti Sinha, your host from Tech Jobs Fair. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Miss Denise Gurbuz, and this session is going to be a real career changing for all of you. She is an accomplished accountant executive, fractional EIC, and tech industry trailblazer. She excels in navigating market landscapes and driving tech innovation. She also introduced cloud solutions to Forbes, 1,000 financial services clients, and achieved significant growth in the EMEA region at ProvenWorks. Formerly a guest author at Salesforce Ben, she now actively supports women in tech, promoting diversity and helping underrepresented professionals excel. So, hi, Denise. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us.
That was a very detailed bio. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I mean, we've been chatting with you about the same topic for a very long time now. And I think it was about time that we covered it in a webinar. So I'm really happy to be here. It's
Yeah.
an exciting topic. I can't wait for your questions. So all excited.
Great, amazing. So, guys, just stay here. Don't leave us, right? Be with us because we're going to discuss about a very interesting topic that is becoming a star player: women in tech and professional presence. But before we dive into the topic and start our conversations and answer some questions, Denise, we would like you to hear a little journey of yours so far. So, would you like to, unravel your journey with us?
I don't even know where to begin. Like you mentioned, a couple of things. I study international relations, not exactly the field for sales, but they always say you kind of fall into sales. Same story for me. I started at a small Salesforce partner. Just an amazing place, amazing people. If you're familiar with Trailblazers, I think you are because of me at this point. They're just such a welcoming community, and that's kind of when my tech journey began, other than coding here and there during uni, which I didn't specifically enjoy. But everything then turned very commercial for me. I started my journey at Iron Mountain, which was another trail. It was very tiring altogether. So it's been 4.5 years or so. And I wanted to take a career break, walk away from all of that, travel Europe. There were destinations that we wanted to go with my husband. um, and we thought, okay, it's time, let's just drop everything and travel. But it never goes according to plan, does it? So we just started working on Tech Giants newsletter with Sanala. She's an amazing senior developer, 10 years of experience in the industry, very specific to what we're talking about, basically. And Sanala said, let's write it. I said, let's write it. So now it's becoming a nonprofit, from the way to make it a nonprofit, because we're not after any gains with the news. Our whole point is basically the topic, help people, especially women in tech, become a little more knowledgeable, see the bigger picture, understand the tech behind tech, which is just as
Mhm.
important. So we're just looking to deliver more news. Today we just published an article actually. So it's just very long working hours, which is interesting for me considering I'm supposed to be on a break. But I'm not complaining. It's all fun stuff. Sometimes tiring, but fun. So I have lots of experience selling to C-suite, VPs, and let's say I was at the right place at the right time. So I've seen it firsthand, how people do business and how it helps their career, and sometimes it hurts their career. So I think it's a really good topic today, and I'll try to share my experience, my thoughts,
Mhm.
and hope help the people who are joining us.
Great. So, like, taking a break has a different definition for you, I guess, because you're still working other stuff, but yeah, still working. Great. So, like, with your background in corporate sales and now also as editor in chief at your Tech Giant News, so what qualities do you think make professionals charismatic or highly respected? How did you develop your own professional presence in the industry?
That's a good question, and I think the answer will be vastly different if the question was asked maybe 10,
Hello,
20
can you
years
hear me?
ago. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I lost you for a second, but I hear you
Uh,
now.
just give, you can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Ah, okay. Yes.
I'll be back with a lag. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you, but then there's a lag. Hello. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine, but it's just cutting. Can you hear me now?
Uh, yes, I can hear you. I think this is better. We're talking about tech and there's glitch in the tech.
Exactly. Tech is always the problem. No, it's on my side because
Yeah.
to be honest with you, like I'm in warmer places with a little crappy internet. So I am still
No
traveling.
worries.
I'm still traveling, so I'm away in the island, so we don't have the best internet here. But we have great food and the beach, so
Uh,
just bear with my connection issue. Please repeat your
no
question for
worries,
me
no worries.
from there.
Yes, definitely. So I was saying that, you have a lot of background in corporate sales, and now you're like the editor in chief at Tech Giant News. So what qualities do you think, make professionals charismatic or highly respected in this field? Or how did you even develop your own professional presence in the industry?
I think the answer would be very different if the same question was asked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years
Hmm.
ago. Because we all, like, let's just address the elephant in the room. We all have the understanding of the strong, powerful, authoritative person when we talk about professional presence. We always have
Yeah.
someone who looks very strong and sometimes demanding, yeah, a little scary, even. That person comes to mind. But as we're seeing more and more today, and as we're understanding ourselves more, I think the definition is changing greatly. It's a completely different definition today. It's not just about commanding authority. It's not just about looking good. It's not just about playing the part and being this cool person. Most of the time, the guy would come to mind because that's the stereotype of the tech, as they're the majority. But
Yeah.
nowadays, it actually is changing, and there's a there's a good balance between this authoritative figure and the other bits that make you who you
Hmm.
really are. Because at the end of the day, just like anything else that make you remembered as a person, professional presence, what kind of person you are, what people remember when they think of you, it's all about how you made them feel.
Right.
And now it's more about your genuine, authentic personality rather than just looking like the cool person in the room. And that, I mean, for me, it changed everything when I see that. We have so many leaders today who don't look like this cool guy in the room. They definitely
Hmm.
don't look like guys. So you have, I mean, for me personally, just to name some names, for me, there's Mira Murati looking after tech at OpenAI. That's just a really impressive figure. She's calm, she's quiet, and she definitely does not look like the stereotypical authoritative person that we would think.
Yeah.
But she's such a successful and adored woman in the industry. Just everybody loves her. It's just that beautiful balance between authority and genuinity or
Hmm.
kindness or whatever element that you can bring. Salesforce UKI CEO, same way. She makes you feel really important. She makes you feel heard. I can say the same thing about Kimberly Smith, VP of Salesforce. So many people that I come across, and they just bring something from themselves. So I think
Yeah.
that is a really important component that people just forget about when building your
Hmm.
professional presence. Because at the end of the day, I'm working with lots of people, mentees, I'm coaching. I can take you and create a perfect Harvey Specter out of you. That's just not you. It's going to look super cool, but that's not you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because it's not you, it can only go to a certain point, and then it
Hmm.
will fail because it's just a persona we put over you basically, and it
Right.
just doesn't work out. So you need to connect with who you really truly are. Giving the most blunt example for me, I don't sound very professional when I'm being genuine. I sound like, hey, what's up? This is super cool. I say super cool all the time. Nothing professional about this. But when I get on stage, talk at events, do this and that, 7,000 people, 10,000 people, 15,000 people, they listen to me. They take
Yeah.
it serious, and especially in the sales setting. I saw this little statistic about corporate sales, and they say corporate tech sales, especially the enterprise space, is about 97% male dominated. I don't know if that's exactly true. If you can, nobody can prove it because McKinsey has different ideas. Deloitte has completely different ideas. But when
Yeah.
you look at the data, it looks very male dominated. And I am, most of the
Hmm.
time, I'm very young. I'm just slim built. I'm not that scary, authoritative person when you see me in person. And it's very easy for me to say, hey, I have something to say. And
Hmm.
people won't talk over me. It just doesn't happen to
Yeah.
me. And that's why I want to help other women in the industry who struggle with that, because they have better things to say. They have a lot to say.
Right.
You just cannot break that ceiling to get over to the other place and say, this is who I am. I don't have to
Hmm.
shout or that's what I bring. Different example we see actually with the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen. He speaks a lot about being a workaholic, like openly. He will
Hmm.
go live and he's going to say things like, I work. When I don't work, I think about work. I work all the time. This is not a good image. Like PR didn't make him say that, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's PR. That's actually just who he is. And because of that, he's gaining all that massive likes and support. And of course, the other side of it is success. Like I said, commanding authority 50%, being who you really truly are the other 50%, might be kind, might be empathetic, might be a workaholic, whoever you really are. Because when you look
Hmm.
at all successful leaders, they have something different they bring to the table.
Hmm.
But one thing that's a non-negotiable is the hard work and the discipline. Look at
Right.
the growth of the top tech companies. We covered that in the newsletter quite a lot. They have the hard work and discipline. Like, I cannot highlight this enough. You can fake it till you make it, and there's this and that, and a bit of it is good, but you
Yeah.
have to put in work. So I think bring those two together, blend them perfectly, and then you're going to have the balance of your professional presence. But do one thing: don't omit who you really are whilst
Yeah.
trying to be professional, because that's one thing that's
Yeah.
not going to happen. 90% of people I work with, I talk to, they're trying to do exactly that. So if we address one issue, I think it's going to get so much better for everyone.
Yeah, maybe because they try to be either someone else or they're trying to fit in, and that's where exactly they lose themselves, and that could be like a drawback. They might think it's like a plus point that I have to fit in. Maybe I can work on this thing, maybe my personality, my speaking, whatever style, but they might just that might just work as a drawback for them because they are trying to lose themselves and not be who they are. Because I've seen a lot of times, they people get job not because of experience and everything, but because of who they are, like how they are, their personality, you know.
I
And
think I saw similar
yeah,
questions. Like down the line, we'll talk more about this, but
yeah.
the best, the most capable, amazing person doesn't get the job. The person who can do what's asked most of the time gets the job. The person who looks like the
Hmm.
part sometimes gets the job. So there's a difference between an idea and a proposal. There comes in the communication skills, how you present yourself.
Right.
And that's why we need to address it. It doesn't mean looking successful and commanding the room is a bad thing, as long as you're not a bully. Because most of these
Hmm.
figures that we used to praise maybe years and years
Yeah.
ago, they were actually bullies, if you think about it.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
commanding authority, I have all the power. That was not something very inclusive at the time. And we
Yeah.
didn't see it, we thought, wow, this is really cool. But nowadays, when you meet someone kind and friendly and approachable, but when you look at their background and they worked at Accenture for 22 years and drove the most influential implementations and helped tons of people, and you hear it from actually people when you meet them who are talking about this amazing woman,
Hmm.
that speaks volumes, I think. And it's about that personality. So we're not saying don't look cool and all that. Just please do if that's who you are. But if that's not who you are, try to
Yeah.
take a step back. You reflect. Just show us who you really are. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all on the way.
Right. And so you emphasized on, being hardworking and being disciplined, and that's irreplaceable. So, based on your personal experience, how can professionals integrate these qualities in their daily routines to ensure like consistency and, growth and success, so that like discipline is not built in a day. They have to maintain it and be consistent. So, how can they work on it?
I love this question because it's just so important. We have to understand one thing. There are no shortcuts. I
Right.
know you see many. I know you see certain people. Like I have 10 people in my DMs on LinkedIn telling me this happened, that happened, and they were saying this, and I can't even believe that they're in this like position of power and commanding this many people and making decisions. You should, because this happens. But this happens
Yeah.
doesn't mean there are shortcuts. If you really want to achieve something, and more importantly, you want to feel like you deserve it and you belong when you get to that point, there are no shortcuts. There are no
Hmm.
shortcuts. If I throw you right now, or any of us, like let's just make either of us, you or me, CEO of Apple. Like how is that gonna sit with us? Do we, either of us, do we know how to run the company Apple, like completely realistically? No. So we have to, if we want to get there, if that's one of the goals, for me, it's definitely not. That's oh wow, a lot of problems. No. But if somebody wants to get there, and let's say currently they're a mid manager and they want to go to that point,
Yeah.
they're gonna find themselves thinking, "Ah, man, if only I could wake up one day and be that person." That's not how that works. You understand that the minute you
Yeah.
step in it, like I found myself at such tournaments. I'm a sports person. I've done,
Oh.
at the regionals, I've done lots of things. And because someone fell sick, I had to cover, and it was regionals, like A3. I was like, what the hell am I doing? 1 second, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm so bad, not supposed to be here. It's horrible. So you will only understand it when you get to the point that you're not supposed to be there. So that's why I'm saying there are no shortcuts. And the best example of how you can implement it in your life, just like you said, is discipline. It's not
Hmm.
motivation, discipline, showing up every single day for the same thing. Some days hating it, some days loving it, whatever it is you're feeling, just showing up, doing the work.
Right.
You have to do the work internally, completely for
Hmm.
yourself. Like, I'm in sales. If you don't make 50 to 100 calls a day, you know what's going to happen. It'll impact your
Hmm.
pipeline. Quarter later, it'll impact your numbers. Quarter later,
Right.
it'll impact everyone around you. Because your number, like your manager's number, is all of your numbers, your teammates' numbers combined together. That's your
Hmm.
manager's number. And it will start impacting other people because all the
Right.
manager's number they combine together, they're the VP's number. You shouldn't be focusing on that. You should be focusing on your own work. That's
Hmm.
exactly why. Because if you're doing it a little bit, there's a beautiful jargon that I could use here, but I won't because it's not something that you should be saying on a webinar. But if you're not giving your everything, there'll be a
Hmm.
time where you look back and you're gonna feel misplaced and it's not gonna be worth it. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. So just don't take the shortcuts, work hard and have the discipline. It sounds like nothing because it sounds like this
Yeah.
little sentence. Work hard, have discipline. So I'll try to give a more solid example. You ask from my own life, but this is just too good to pass on. One of my friends, when I was at the past company, large corporates, millions of clients, whatever. And this guy, he is an amazing salesperson,
Hmm.
multi-million dollar target per annum. He's really successful, doing it.
Yeah.
Once we were having this conversation, as I'm learning a lot, I'm listening, I'm learning. We're at the office, it's all about learning. He told me, Denise, it's very simple. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, which I didn't, this is another conversation, but there's nothing at the end of
Hmm.
it. So that's not really the topic, but that's not what he meant. If you want to be successful, basically,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want to be successful, get to places, get bigger clients, achieve more in the space, you need to call your number and then you need to make your number. I was like, what are you on about? This means absolutely nothing. Well, what are you saying? He was like, okay, let me explain it to you. When we get given our numbers, and that's a salesperson example, account executive, director, manager example, but this is applicable at everyone because if you're working for a company, you have a certain KPI
Hmm.
that you have to, somewhat take care of.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least 75%. You have to be successful, or you'll be either replaced or you'll have performance reviews. Nobody wants that. So if you're an admin, you have to figure your things out. If you're support, you have to deal with that many tickets. It can be applicable for everyone. But it's specifically a sales example. He said, when we get our targets, let's say beginning of Q1, they tell us, all right, 1 million, 2 millions, 3 million, whatever. And it's really high, obviously. If you work at a corporate company, you know that it's high and it's unexpected. It's like wow, how could they? You cannot even make sense of it. This is how high it's going to get. And most people hit it too, because it's
Hmm.
tech and things happen. And there's this expectation because there's that company that's providing the value. But in the first instance, every single salesperson will go completely crazy. They'll be like, what the hell is this? What do you mean? That's unattainable. Stop. He said, look at these people. They'll always do that. And then the ones who are silent, it won't matter because they're the minority. At the
Hmm.
end of the quarter, majority of the people who reacted will make their number.
Yeah.
Statistics, good companies, nearly 60 to 80% make their number. Average companies, 50. I mean, even if it's 40%, it looks like a lot. Based on my experience, at least 40%, 43% of the team make targets. And that's the worst case scenario. Better scenario, 60%. So he said
Hmm.
that's exactly why your reaction, it's not going to match the outcome and nobody
Yeah.
will listen to you. If you want to be that person who'll be taken seriously and you want to be successful, you have to see your number. 1 million, 2
Mm.
million. Okay, I understand. I'll see you in 12 months' time. And in 12 months, you have to make your number and preferably earlier. You have to go back and say, all right, done. What's next? Now, this
Yeah.
is going to sound, it sounded like that to me. Very corporate, really cold. We're just chasing the revenue. It sounded really heartless. I was like, come on, it's not supposed to be like that. He said, no, you're missing the point. The point is not you made the money and this and that. The point is the credibility. So that's what the company wants from you. One
Right.
person, they come in, they get the target, they get given a certain amount of time, they come back and they deliver.
Hmm.
Now, this is the most real example of that. You call your number, you make your number. Next year, you call your number, you make your number. You will be
Yeah.
up there. You will be considered for certain things. Not just talking a lot about this and that, but actually focusing and
Yeah.
delivering. So that does not only reflect your work ethic, not only your discipline, but most importantly for the company, it's your credibility. Because
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, they don't care about what happened this quarter or this year. They care whether they can trust you or not. They can
Hmm.
give you a task, turn their back. All that matters to most of them. And
Yeah.
that's exactly why we're successful, because everyone needs to handle their own business. This is a very perfect example. Again, I'm highlighting. It's not that simple. I'm here for all the BDRs and AEs. This is super challenging. It's not jokes. Make your number. It's not that simple. Most numbers that we're
Sounds
talking about.
simple.
So go make your number, Tripti. It's very
It's
not,
just like
not
be disciplined and be hardworking.
just be disciplined and hardworking and focus on the credibility in it.
Yeah.
Break down the plan. How many calls do I need to make? How often should I
Yeah.
travel? What clients should I focus on? Build your gameplay, build your plans, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the professional presence here. That's why I'm
Hmm.
giving this example. Regardless
Right.
of what
Right.
work you're doing on the back end, you have to be presenting yourself in a certain way
Right.
and making it. No shortcuts,
Yeah.
hard work, and credibility. That's
Yeah.
all.
It's like make your plan of action and get to the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, because you've emphasized so much on hard work, I've seen a lot of people nowadays or generations nowadays talk about smart work, right? And they be like, hard work used to be a thing. We should like now focus on doing smart work. So, what's your like, quick say on that before I move on to my another question?
I talk a lot. Don't ask me this. I need 2 hours with you. I talk a lot. Okay. Smart work is a really good point. But in sales, if you've been in it long enough, you know that sometimes there's no such a thing because sometimes there will be a bluebird that's going to cover a good percentage of your target. And people are going to be like, wow, it's amazing. Where you're there, like, I don't know where this came from. Honestly, I have no idea how this happened. This wasn't my like A game. This was not
Yeah, yeah.
my. This was not my prospect, not my champion, but it just happened. There's that element. But beyond that, I think smart work is, for me, it's about the timing because certain time in the day I am effective. Certain times I am
Yeah.
messed up. I just want to watch some show, relax, be by the beach. That's, I just can't. I can't deal with any of that. So it's about timing. When I'm waking up early, bringing in a little workout because I'm very hyperactive. I'm very energetic. I do a little 10-minute yoga flow and I focus on what I need to focus on. These first 2 hours of the day cover for a majority of the work for me. There are so many diagrams that people can find online.
Yeah.
Just check for it. There was a name for it, was that. So basically, you plan your entire day based on what kind of attention the task requires from you. Let's say
Yeah.
there's a task that requires so much of your attention and brain power, let's say doing a research on
Yeah.
a piece of tech or writing an article. For me, that will be, peak attention. And despite giving all the attention, we have to back and forth edit it. So it's like
All right.
2 pairs of eyes, 3 pairs of eyes at times, and we still make mistakes. So that's something that really requires high level of attention. So I will put that in the morning, get it done. And when you find yourself getting lost in here and there, you always need to ask yourself, is this going to matter in a year's time? Is this going to matter in a month's time? Is it going to matter in 5 years? And
Hmm.
based on that, I eliminate or I reassign. If it's something
Yeah.
silly, I and my team, if it's something really small, but it's going to take me a lot of time, I can reassign. Or if it's something that's really small and you can get rid of it immediately, give yourself 5 minutes, get it done.
Yeah.
Using lists, to-do lists, they really help me. Check mark, done, 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 gone. And when I'm focused, because I have lots of ideas, like it's somewhat creativity what we're doing. What I'm writing, people are reading only because I make it somewhat silly and funny with jokes and
Yeah.
stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I 40 hours of research, me thinking,
I can only imagine.
I'm cute. No, I think it's a huge part of it though, because there's so many
Yeah.
articles out there, and it, that's kind of what matters at the end of the day.
That
Keeping
could
keep.
be your USP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, like for me, when I'm doing that, I come up with an idea. I don't just break my flow because I'm
Hmm.
in it. Now. I'm in there. Take my notebook, make a note, do this, do that, whatever it might be. Go back to your actual focus, what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So planning this, and also same goes for sales. Just look at your accounts. How many accounts are you dealing? SMBAE, we're talking about, you're going to have 100 accounts, 200 accounts. Don't just look at the spending of the accounts. Look at their tech deck. There are so many
Hmm.
apps. Should I name drop? Zoom Info is really good. I probably can. Zoom Info is for the US. Zoom Info is really good. EMEA needs some more practice. You can just check out the company and see what kind of tech deck they're using, and then you can
Yeah.
implement your own. See if you can implement your own solution within there, and see if it will make a tangible change in their operations. If you
Hmm.
have experience selling the same product, or if you really understand your product, you'll see it. Like salespersons will understand what I'm talking about. If you're dealing with key strategic accounts, go beyond your VP, go beyond whoever's name is on that DocuSign or Adobe, go beyond that little image and really talk to the people, talk to your champion. You probably took the account over with the new FI. You probably don't even know about the person or the account itself. Meet people, ask more questions, go deep. And then when you do that little discovery phase across your accounts, keep it short, intact, and see where it's giving fruit or some sort of potential.
Hmm.
And then you can reassign your focus and see, all right, these 5 look really interesting. I want to talk to more people on these accounts. Pull them in.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you need to be, because nobody can cover 200 accounts. You need to have a
Yeah.
certain type
Yeah.
of strategy to go around it. Same thing can be applied for anyone, anywhere. But I think the most challenging is sales in that sense, because like who can deal with so many accounts?
Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. So, how can women in tech boost their confidence? And we've talked about it, credibility, particularly when under pressure. Like, if you have any strategies that you have found effective or you've used it, so you can share with us.
I think number one, confidence and credibility, they will rely on your personal strengths and weaknesses. For
Hmm.
some people, staying calm is really easy. It's given. Most of my
Yeah.
counterparts, teammates, colleagues, my husband, everybody I know, they're just calm. Something goes crazy. It's crazy. Like things are on fire. And they're like, all right. I'm like, what do you mean, all right? I'm losing it. I'm having a full on nervous breakdown. I'm just not that type of person. I'll go
Yeah.
crazy. But you
Yeah.
have to take a step back if that's your weakness. Personally, I find it really challenging not to overreact. For me, that's it. For you, it might be something else. And
Yeah.
I'm always honest and open about it. Like I said, professional presence, your persona, it's who you really are. So just be yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm being honest. I really struggle staying calm. What should I do? I should always remind myself to see the bigger picture. It'll be okay. We'll handle it. Things happen. And I always remind myself that's not an open heart surgery. That's just not an open heart surgery. Like we can chill. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So for me, that will be the case. For you, it might be something else. But I think to really achieve your potential credibility or your potential persona, the person you're supposed to be, that you see yourself being, you really need to go on the dark side and find out what your weaknesses are, number one.
Hmm.
Because it's very likely they will get in the way down the line if you don't just make your peace right now. Okay, I
Yeah.
tend to react, or oh, okay, I tend to get quite stressed, to be honest. That like two different things. Number one, there's a type of stress you can handle. There's a type of stress I can handle. There's no
Yeah.
life without stress. If we had a life without stress, we wouldn't have laptops. We wouldn't have any of this. We wouldn't have airplanes. We would not have
Yeah.
anything we have. But we're human beings and we built these things. So everything
Yeah.
comes with a little bit of stress, which is amazing. You just need to figure out what type of stress does not break you. For me,
Hmm.
let's say going into a client meeting where I'm going to meet someone really important. They make all the decisions on it. I'm literally on a flight or on a train. I'm literally sent to this client meeting. It's that important with my team. That's very stressful for me. I can manage it, but I don't enjoy it at all. Very stressful because
Hmm.
everything depends on one person's understanding or you, practically you,
Yeah.
how you're able to demonstrate or what you're able to tell them in that given
Hmm.
moment. So that stresses me out a lot. For some people, gives them so much anxiety they cannot even perform anything,
Yeah.
so you need to understand what you cannot do. What I can do is go in front of like 1,000 people, 10,000 people and talk, like have a very casual chat, and I just don't care about it. I have very, very successful salespeople, and they just always overachieve by a lot. And they would tell me, like, there was a time I'm doing lots of events and stuff. I'll go back to it, and they're gonna be again messaging me. How do you do that? You just get in front of people. You're like this and that. You're giving a chat.
Yeah.
I have my own stress. Like I'm stressed about this. You will be stressed about that. But what an amazing salesperson you are. That person's 10 times better than me at their job. Being completely honest, they're so much better because they have 20 years of experience. They know what they're doing, this and that. So many reasons. For me, I can just handle stage stress, let's say. So it's about what you can handle, what you're good at, practice, like try new things, try a lot of new things, practice. For me, it's so easy that when I'm on stage, people are worried, like my notes, what I'm going to say, this and that. I'm just worried about matching my lipstick to my shoe or something like that. So I'm so above or under all of this. I don't know if it's a good thing or a
That
bad
feels
thing.
like your space, like your comfort zone.
Yeah, like for me, I'm like, do you think that photographer, it looks like the wrong lens to me. Change that lens. To me, that's a completely different. I'm so chill.
Hmm.
Like, we'll probably be doing together the Tech Jobs Fair Budapest, right?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna be probably we're gonna
Yeah.
be doing moderator. If I'm not moderating, I'll definitely come and join. But it's gonna be a road trip for us. We're literally planning the whole fun road trip around the event because it's fun for me to go talk to people. So that's the stress
Hmm.
that I can handle. You need to find your own. It can be building a machine. It can be solving problems. I have friends who really enjoy being in support. They're like, give me problems. This is too
Yeah.
easy. For me, I will be stressed dead. Things are broken. I want to go. I want to leave. I
Yeah.
can't do it. So just find your type of stress, and then confidence is going to be a part of it. Discipline, like we mentioned, hard work, we all mentioned. You need to be doing the work, but
Hmm.
everything else will be a part of it. And especially for my silent people, I really want to talk to my silent people who
Hmm.
work a lot, study a lot. They have a lot to share, but they just cannot take the microphone. They cannot take the seat at this table. They are
Yeah.
not given the spotlight. Like that's what bothers me the most because I'm not that person. I will
Hmm.
make sure to speak if I want to say something. Like I'll say it. Don't worry about me. Nobody will take it away from me. But when I see someone who's so brilliant and they're not given the chance, that pisses me off. That's
Yeah.
like, no, we have to address this type of thing. And for them, please be persistent. Be persistent. Analyze your strategy. It may not be about you. It may not be your fault. Let's say you try to say something in a meeting, you try to contribute during an event, during a discussion, quarterly meeting, whatever, with the whole team. There's 20 people. All of them are VPs or this and that. You're stressed. You just want to say, hey, can I please contribute? You're not heard. Can I say something? You're not heard. You might get really discouraged. It's very
Yeah.
normal. you get super discouraged and you don't want to do this again. I understand, but please do it again. There's a chance that it might be about you. Ask yourself, would I listen to this? How else can I form this argument that I have that I am so sure of? How can I
Mm-hmm.
portray that people will hear
Yeah.
me out? Because I believe that this matters.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on what you're trying to express rather than everything else, and
Yeah.
change everything else around your idea until you're heard.
Mm.
And it's not, most of the time it's not even other people's fault. Corporate is not that people are horrible, they don't listen to me. Most of the time, nine out of 10, it's not anything personal, and they're not trying to talk over you. They're just really busy, and there's a content, everybody's on a time crunch, they just want to move. It's nothing personal. So you have to find a way to voice your opinion, to be there in the best way you can. Meryl Streep once said, it's amazing how much you can get if you quietly, clearly, and authoritatively demand it. Now, that's it. Come back. Have an idea, it's not heard. Come back. Keep
Yeah.
talking about it. If you're, it might be your tone, it might be your attitude, it might be your work. It might even be your work. Work harder if needs. Change whatever that needs changing and then come back. If you try
Yeah.
saying it like, can I say my opinion? Try another approach. Thank you, everyone. Do tonation. Thank you, everyone, for this great opinion. I have a couple notes that might change the direction of this whole implementation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. We'll listen to you. Like, send me a message. If nothing works, I mean it, send me a message on LinkedIn and I will respond to you. I always respond to messages. Send me a message and say, this is not working. How can I convey this message,
Yeah.
this feel, whatever it is? Because I don't want you to feel like you don't have a voice. That I hate this the
Yeah.
most, especially if you have a good idea, if you have a good plan or hard work or any form of potential, you deserve to be heard
Right.
because you're there. You made it. You're there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to join the discussion as much as everyone else, and we only
Yeah.
have to support each other. That's it. And make sure everybody's heard, because like you said, people are really broken inside, people are really hurt inside. A lot of bad things are happening to them on a daily
Yeah.
basis. That's why we need more empathy and kindness. Brings us
Mm-hmm.
back to the first question. Why do we really look up to this woman who's on stage, and she just doesn't look scary? She looks authoritative, but she looks also kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why, because people want to see people, they want to talk to people, they want to be heard, understood, they want to have a certain form of connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think credibility, confidence, when we talk about any of that, finding yourself and trying different ways. But no matter what you do, be sure of yourself and bring your authentic self. It's enough
Right.
whoever you are, and you'll achieve whatever you want to achieve. Give yourself the time, try different methods, but
Mm-hmm.
do the work. Don't look for shortcuts. Don't be the person who gets there and I was like, you don't know what you're doing. I know you have
Yeah.
mid-managers or people in your company. You see that person, you're like, they don't know what they're doing. Like should they be doing this job? I know that so many. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm naming that person right now. I know. But don't be that person. That's that simple. Focus on yourself and realign everything else.
Yeah. That's nice. Like, trying to get the visibility and be open about your ideas and make it heard. Right. And also, we have to, like you said, like about kindness and, empathetic, that we have to remember, end of the day, we are humans. So, yeah, have to remember that.
Exactly.
Well, that brings me to my, final question, because you're also, kind of overboard with time. So let's talk something about continuous learning and seeking feedback, like whether they're vital. So what could be your top recommendations for women in tech to engage in ongoing learning or effective, how to seek feedback to improve their careers or like have growth in their career?
I don't want to make it generic, so I'll give specific examples. But in general, it's
Yeah.
about getting out there and asking questions. That's
Hmm.
top. You're gonna talk to so many influential women or role models. Do that. Like, send them a message. Say, hey, you did this. It was really cool for me. When you mentioned it was an empowering moment for me. Thank you for being there. Seeing people like you, it helps me. That's gonna be a nice message for this person as well. So do this. They may not get back to you. 9 out of 10, it's not about you. I want to highlight this again. They're busy, they have things going on. So don't be discouraged and keep messaging people, being in touch. Join different groups where like-minded people your age and people who have slightly maybe more experience, they come
Hmm.
together. they talk to you about their problems or their learnings from the industry. So I have Women in Tech Forum, been a partner for a long time. I'm a member. I go to as many events as I can. They have webinars if you can't do in person. They teach you a lot of women specific situations, skills, feelings, thoughts, because our thoughts, we cannot eliminate them out of our professional life. We have these thoughts,
Yeah.
we have different things, and sometimes it's very similar. And not everything is gender based, but gender sometimes beautifully brings together similarities, I think.
Yeah.
So join these talks. You can try and be a member of Women Tech Makers. You can be an analyst, you can be a dev, it doesn't matter. Just join these communities because you will get lots of newsletters and publishings from the women who are working for that and volunteering, to be specific. And it will teach you a lot over course of time. I don't want to give any ads, but subscribe to our newsletter because it's completely free. And we're not doing it for profit, like it's non-profit. So if we ever manage to gather some funds at some point, we'll do exactly that. Events in the UK, hands-on workshops to teach specifically this group of people and help them get to better places because we want to see more diversity. That's the bottom line. Diversity and inclusion is the bottom line. Like everything we're doing should go on top of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
So be a part of the community, ask questions, go to events, check out specific things that I'm talking about. There's so many opportunities. Like you go onto YouTube and you can type Azure course and you can literally start over. You can start and you can learn. A little, this and that. You can literally start over and build your knowledge. YouTube is such a great source of knowledge. You can learn a lot. And
Yeah.
even within all of this, I'm doing a whole econ course. Like I'm not saying go do a major, but it helps keeping on top of all the news and whatever your profession, work on that too. Because I work with financial services, I'm still involved. Whenever there's an important function going on, I will go. But I have to keep my knowledge up to date as well. These are some things that I mention in the articles I write. I I include all my skills within today, within my time, within my work. So make sure to stay connected with your skills and with the people who might give you a hand, who might help you, who might teach you, and follow big companies, follow startups. We should not forget about startups. AI is kind of
Yeah.
killing them. So just get out there and talk, try it.
Hmm.
Hey, this is Denise, I want to learn more about this. It's very simple. You can be surprised if you just go out there and ask this question. You can be surprised by like how much will happen for you, and don't be scared of asking. When you send a direct
Yeah.
message to someone, if I send a message to Tripti, hey Tripti, how are you? This is Denise. So nice to meet you. Well, like she wouldn't even respond to me maybe because what do you say to that? What does she want from me? She's gonna think, okay, hi, nice to meet you. That's it. So ask, hey Tripti, I see that you're doing an event there. Any chance I can
Yeah.
attend? How should I do it? What should I pay attention to? Ask for
Hmm.
something. You will be surprised by how much you can get by just asking. Like, go
Yeah.
ask. The thing that I asked for landed me in like literally a different country giving an enablement session. Like things happen, it's crazy. You just ask. They're like, hey, can I do this? They're like, go ahead.
It's like
It's
showing the curiosity.
yeah, exactly. Just like, can I? Is it possible? They're gonna be, yeah, go ahead. You're like, that's a global tech company, like 35
Yeah.
billion you're making in revenue every
That's
year.
interesting.
Like, please don't let me do whatever. But they will let you do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will give you the platform. Form your questions,
Right.
opinions, be yourself. Don't eliminate who you are out of it.
Hmm.
Great thanks to my career coach for letting me in on that. So get a career coach as well if you can. If you can't ask me questions, I'll answer them. I know it's expensive, but I have a career coach. It's just amazing. I was lucky
Yeah.
to meet like Rachel Gray, and everything that I know and I do, that person can change your entire perspective and your
Hmm. Hmm.
corporate career in front of you and
Right.
how you will succeed. So they teach you yourself basically. So do all these things and send both of us a message and let us know what you think about.
Right. Amazing. So, I truly know that if we had more time, we could just go on with this for hours, but we do have some time constraints and have to bring this session to an end. But we can always come back later, with different topics and interesting sessions. But today, your insights are really, really interesting and valuable. But before we wrap this session up, do you want to add any small tip to our viewers, anything from your end? Like a final tip?
Final tip will be Don't be discouraged by the lack of experience or lack of opportunities, lack of income, any of that. There is something you bring that's very valuable. When you look at professional presence, when you look at all these people who have strategic thinking, visionary leadership, you hear visionary leadership that defines the game for everyone today, for the big companies. You might think, I don't have leadership and I don't have the vision because I don't have 20 years. It doesn't matter. You're adaptable because you're not a
Mhm.
part of a huge machine yet. So just because you're young, there's something unique that you're bringing that should not be just pushed to a
Right.
side. So please connect with yourself and don't hurt yourself for absolutely no reason. There's something that you bring is valuable for someone. Remember this. Don't be discouraged because I really really feel for younger professionals and people who
Yeah.
are doing the harder job, and they think or they feel like they're miles behind. That's not
Right.
true. When you get there, there's not much there. It's all about the journey. You have to be able to look back and there should be a smile on your face. Is
Yeah.
that the journey you want rather than the goal you want to achieve? So make it worth it.
Right. Great. Awesome. And for all our viewers, you can always log on to Tech Jobs Fair to know more about events, both virtual or physical. So yeah, you can always log on to our website and check out the events there. And Denise, thank you so much once again for joining us. And it was pleasure having you and hearing your experience, your knowledge, and your insights. So thank you so much.
It was so nice chatting with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thank you everyone who was with us throughout the session. And we will meet again. Until next time, take care and have a great day. Well, thank you so much, Denise. Bye bye.